We hear about these supposedly game-changing AI initiatives constantly, right? They promise to completely revolutionize business as we know it. But there's a huge disconnect between all that hype and what actually happens. So many of these super expensive, high-stakes projects, they just fizzle out. They fail to deliver anything even close to their potential. So what's going on? Why does this keep happening? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into.
All right, before we jump in, just so you know where all this is coming from, this explainer is from chapters 9 and 10 of this report from Virtualization Options LLC. So we're pulling these insights directly from their in-depth research on why these AI projects stumble. Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it. We're about to challenge a really common assumption about why AI projects fail. I mean, this is the multi-million-dollar question, isn't it? You see a project fail, and what's the first thing you think? Oh, the data must have been bad, or the algorithms just weren't smart enough, right? Maybe the integration was just too complex. We almost always look for a technical problem, some piece of the machine that broke. But what this report argues is we're looking in completely the wrong place. The single biggest reason these things fail, it's not in the code, it's not on the servers, it's human. It all comes down to trust. And that brings us to the central idea of this whole analysis, the idea that the success of this futuristic, advanced technology, well, it actually hinges on something incredibly old-fashioned. And that's credibility. And check out this quote from the report because it just says it all perfectly. You can have the most brilliant AI on the planet, but if your own people don't trust the organization that's rolling it out, it's basically dead on arrival. The quality of the tech is secondary to that credibility. Just think about that. So, what do we even mean by organizational credibility? Look, it's not something you can just whip up with a flashy PowerPoint deck. It's the historical record of your company's actions. It's basically the sum total of every single promise you've ever kept or broken, every past change that was handled well or handled really poorly. And what I love about this is how it breaks down this big, fuzzy idea of trust into real, tangible things. We're talking about things like, are you actually honest in your communications, even when the news is bad? Do people perceive leadership as competent? Have you shown you actually care about your employees? See, your history on all these points, that's the lens through which every single new initiative you launch is going to be viewed. And this slide, wow, it just perfectly illustrates the consequences. Just look at the difference here. In a high-trust organization, leaders get the benefit of the doubt. People are engaged. But in a low-trust place, they automatically assume the worst about your motives. Every tiny problem is seen as more proof that you're incompetent. Now, ask yourself, does a complex AI project stand a chance in that second column? No way. Okay, so if a lack of trust is the poison, then what's the antidote? This is where we pivot from the problem to the solution and look at an actual actionable framework for success. Now, this right here is a massive mindset shift. The report makes a powerful argument that resistance isn't an obstacle you need to crush or just overcome. Instead, you should treat it as valuable information. When people push back, they are literally handing you a roadmap to where the real problems are hiding. And when you start listening to that feedback, it naturally leads you to a framework that looks a lot like this. And do you notice a theme here? I mean, look at these points. None of this is about the tech. It's all about involving people early on, being transparent, giving them the actual resources and realistic timelines they need, and, this is a big one, creating an environment where it's safe to voice concerns without fear. But here's the thing, you can't just apply that framework with a one-size-fits-all approach. The real key is tailoring it. Think about it. The IT department is going to be worried about technical feasibility and security. That's a totally different conversation than the one you'll have with HR, who's focused on employee impact. And finance, they're worried about accuracy and audits. Treating resistance as information means you have to listen to these specific concerns and address them directly. So does all this soft stuff, all this focus on trust and people and feelings, does it actually lead to hard, bottom-line results? Well, let's take a look at the data from the report because the numbers are pretty staggering. First up, organizations that actually do this stuff, that manage resistance properly, see a 2.5 times higher implementation success rate. I mean, that's not a small number. That is a massive difference. And get this. Here's the crazy paradox.
Even though this approach takes more time up front, for all that listening and planning, it actually results in 40% faster adoption overall. And why is that? It's simple. You're not fighting an uphill battle against your own team the entire time you're trying to roll it out. And finally, the number that really matters, the bottom line. These projects don't just get finished. They actually work better. We're talking 60% better business outcomes. And that's because they were designed with real-world, practical feedback baked in right from the very beginning. So, we'll leave you with this final thought. Your next big initiative is coming. It's always just around the corner, right? When it arrives, the most important question you can ask yourself isn't about the technology. It's about what you are really building. Are you just building a project? Or are you building the trust that will actually make it succeed?